Oh, hi, this is the final video of this week. In the presentation of Roman mythology, we'll have to talk about their religion, gods, and worship. So, the Roman gods were, as the Roman were practical, they were utilitarian. So, these gods basically were expected to serve and protect men. When they failed to be useful to men, many times their worship was curtailed. But the Romans had religious sentiment. They had a global sense of the divinities present in nature, first of all. Their deepest religious feelings center on the family and the state, though, the two basic institutions of their society. So when the Romans adopted Greek gods, that was from the 3rd century BCE on, these deities, the Greek deities, were simplified to conform to Roman religion. Mars became the chief god of the imperial age, so of the emperors, that time more honored than Jupiter, so Roman Zeus, since he aided and symbolized the Roman conquests, the great conquests during the empire. But when the Romans started to identify their own gods with those of the Greeks, so they reinterpreted stories about Greek deities under the names of their Roman counterparts. The early myths and legends of the Romans also have a relationship with Etruscan religion, but this is less documented than that of the Greeks. Early Roman divinities included a large group of specialist gods. In which sense? So their names were invoked in the carrying out of various specific activities. We said that the gods were practical. So, for example, Janus and Vesta guarded the door and the earth. So in this picture, you can see Janus. Janus is this god with a double face, one on the front and one on the back. So for him, it was possible to guard doorways. Then Vesta is the same of the Greek Hestia. Then there were the Lares, very important, that were protecting field and houses. Pallas, that was protecting pasture. Saturn, the sowing. Ceres, that's the same of Demeter, the Greek Demeter, the growth of grain. Pomona, the fruit. Consus and Ops, the harvest. Even the great Jupiter, the ruler of the gods, was honored for the aid his rains might give to farms, crops, and vineyards. So all activities that were around Rome and in Roman territories. So in his more common character, Jupiter was considered through his weapon of lightning. Through this, he was the director of human activity. So, due to his widespread domain, the Romans regarded him as their protector in their military activities, so beyond the borders of their community. Then very prominent in early times were the gods Mars and Quirinus that were often identified with each other. Mars, more commonly, was god of war, but he represented two primary Roman preoccupations, so farming and fighting. So Mars was also protector of farming. Then about the modern historians, modern scholars, they are seeing Quirinus as a counterpart of Mars in the sense that he is the patron of the armed community in time of peace. So the gods listed in this graphic, where at the center you can see the Roman adaptation of Greek gods, and then with their Etruscan counterparts too. So we have already seen this graphic presenting the Etruscan gods. These gods had importance in both Roman mythological writing and in the Roman religion. So let's see about religion, the Roman religion. A religion in ancient Rome encompasses the practices and beliefs the ancient Romans regarded as their own, as well as the many cults that they imported to Rome or practiced by peoples under Roman rule. So we have already seen this in the previous video. The Romans thought of themselves as highly religious, and so they attributed their success and they connected their success as a world power to their collective pietas. So we have seen this, we analyzed this about the descent of Aeneas in the underworld, and in maintaining so good relations with the gods. So piety towards the gods was this. According to legendary history, most of Rome's religious institutions could be traced to its founders, particularly the king Numa Pompilius, that was the second king of Rome, according to legend. And according to legend, he negotiated directly with the gods. This archaic religion was the foundation of what the Romans called the Mos Maiorum, so the way of our ancestors, meaning tradition. And this was considered central to Roman identity, so their tradition, the way of the ancestors, the archaic religion. Roman worship was divided into public and private. So in the private, families would honor their household spirits, while Rome as a state had colleges of official priests, especially augurs and pontiffs, to ensure that its actions met with divine approval. The priesthoods of public religion were held by members of the elite classes. So there was not a separation in between church, so the state religion, and state. In fact, during the Roman Republic, the long period going from 509 to 27 BCE, so in between the kingdom and the empire, the same men who were elected public officials served as priests, so augurs and pontiffs. Priests could marry, raise family, and led normally political activity. For example, Julius Caesar, the famous general and Roman politician, became Pontifex Maximus, so the highest state religious authority, before he was elected consul, so the high magistrate in the Roman Republic constitution. So these were the pontiffs, but the augurs too, so were chosen in between the elite classes. And they were those reading the will of the gods and supervising the marking of boundaries as a reflection of universal order, but then sanctioning Roman expansionism as a matter of divine destiny. So you see that the universal order of nature had to be considered, but also the military expansion of the Romans, seen many times through religion. So Roman religion was practical and contractual, as in many ancient civilizations, and this was involving cult worship. So approval from the gods did not depend on a person's behavior or faith or a dogma, but on accurate observance of religious rituals. So, for example, we have Latin literature having speculation on the nature of the divine and its relation to human affairs. So they were considering philosophically this. And even the most skeptical amongst the Rome's intellectuals, so the great orator Cicero, saw religion as a source of social order. So this was a common vision. Each god then to be worshipped needed an image that usually was a statue or a relief, and an altar or a temple where to offer prayers and sacrifices. For ordinary Romans, religion was part of their daily life. Each home had a household shrine, as the one you can see in the picture, at which prayers and libations, so offerings of drinks or food, were done to families' domestic deities. Then there were neighborhood shrines and sacred places as springs and groves dotting the city and the territory. The writer Apuleius described the everyday quality of religion in observing how people who passed a cult place might make a vow or a fruit offering, or merely sit for a while there. The Roman calendar also was structured around religious observances and rituals. For example, in the imperial era, a great number of days, 135 days of the year, were devoted to religious festivals and to games for those occasions, called the ludi. About private religious, the gods that were protecting the families were the Lares and the Penates. A Lar was a protective ancestral spirit, while the Penates were household gods that were the guardians of the earth and of larders, so storerooms. So each Roman family had its own special gods, and so they were worshipping through little statuettes these spirits protecting the house and the household. However, Roman cities had two public Lares and Penates to safeguard them. So for the public religion here, I put some examples, two examples of great temples in Pompeii, one dedicated to Jupiter and the other to Apollo. So as we said, the most important gods had great temples to be honored there. But a very special cult that the Romans had was the worship of the Roman emperor as a god. This practice began at the start of the empire under the first emperor Augustus and became a prominent element of Roman religion. The cult spread over the whole empire in a few decades, but more strongly in the east than in the west. Then one of the late emperors, Diocletian, further reinforced it when he demanded the act of prostrating oneself before a person of higher social rank, like the emperor, and adopted the adjective sacre, sacrum, for all things pertaining to the imperial person. So the imperial cult was present in the cities. Again, here we can see in Pompeii, the temple dedicated to the emperor of the time before the eruption that covered Pompeii, the temple to Vespasian. Generally was called the temple of the genius of Augustus, so of the protector of the person of all emperors, naming Augustus as the representative of all emperors, being the first. So the deification of emperors then was gradually abandoned. After that, Emperor Constantine I started supporting Christianity. However, the concept of the imperial person as sacred carried over in a Christianized form, so into the Eastern Empire, called the Byzantine Empire, in the context of the so-called Caesaropapism. So the Byzantine emperor, the emperor in the East, even if Christianized, was considered God-crowned and was called His Apostoles, so equal to the Apostoles, and regarded as God's vice-regents on earth. So here we have seen something about the gods, special gods of the Roman pantheon, the cult, the worship, and this strange form of cult of a person, deified emperors. After their death, most of the emperors were deified. And then the progressive change of this from the pagan religion to the Christian religion. Okay, so see you next week with the creation of myths and legends for the birth and the foundation of Rome. Bye.